Everyone. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good day from wherever you can hear me. I hope we're doing fine. I hope we're doing great. If you are in this class, this is product design class. This is product design class. This is product design class. Welcome to class. This is product design class. Welcome to class. This is product design class. Happy new month. Happy new month and happy Workers' Day. Happy new month and happy Workers' Day. My sincerest prayer and wish for most of us who are trying to transition to product design, my sincerest prayer for us is that by this time next year, in product design field, whether UI design, whether UX design, my prayer is that this time next year, we are going to be excited that it is Workers' Day so that we can rest. Why did I say that? That's because you probably would be filled with so much work. And that workload, when you hear Workers' Day like this, you are going to be extremely happy that it is Workers' Day. So my prayer is that we would have good jobs. By this time next year, we would be as busy can be, and many more funds in our wallet in the name of Jesus. So whether Naira, whether dollars, whether pounds, whether whatsoever currency we aim to have by this time next year, God will grant it to us in the name of Jesus. Amen. Yes, so you're welcome to class. Who can remind us what we discussed on Tuesday? If you can remember what we discussed on Tuesday, let me see it in the chat box. What we discussed on Tuesday. And for people who are in this class, this is product design. So if you are thinking of if you are not in product design class, then you are in the wrong class. Yeah, so someone said, I need to go back to check that out. I think someone already mentioned user journey map. Thank you very much. Patience said user journey map. Victor said user journey map. Yeah, that's really nice. I'm not sure I can pronounce this name. Kayakazi Maseti also says user journey map. Yes, apart from user journey map, what was another thing we talked about? We talked about user journey map, and we talked about another thing on Tuesday. So we talked about understanding user journey map, how to create your user journey map, but we also talked about something else. All right, for people who are looking for their classes, just check the YouTube of the Incubator and the Incubator Hub NG or the Incubator Hub and scroll through all the live sessions. You're going to see your class for today. Just scroll through all the live sessions. You're going to see your class today. All right, so yes, thank you, Marquise. Marquise said competitive analysis. Mercy, Adimike also said competitive analysis. That's really nice. Types of user journey map, okay, competitive analysis. So thank you. Last week, we discussed two basic things in the journey of you becoming a product designer. And we talked about user journey map, how to create your user journey map, and why user journey map is important. Then we also talked about competitive analysis. That's your that's in summary, yeah. That is your market research. So I'm sure that you would have talked about user research at some point, your survey, your interview, and the likes. But this one now, you are talking about competitive analysis, which is your market research. Oh, David said user journey map, what it is, what it is not, why it matters, the benefits, the types, the phases, key components, and competitive analysis. Wow. David, really, that's in depth. I really like that. I really like that. That's really deep. I mean, it looks like you just pinpointed all of the things that we talked about last week on Tuesday. Thank you very much, David. Now let's move to what we have today because I think we have an hour, 30 minutes to actually go into what we have. If this is your first class, control think. I believe there have been other classes, so you can watch past videos. But thank God you are early in this class, so just pay attention to what we have for today. Then you can watch other videos so that you would be able to understand everything that we've been talking about, because this is being taught in sequence. We started from the beginning what product design is, then we talked about research, quantitative and qualitative research. We talked about user persona, and then on Tuesday we started talking about your user journey map. We started talking about your competitive analysis, which are important things in product design. And then we'll be moving today to three important things as well: information architecture, user flow, and card sorting. Information architecture, user flow, and card sorting. So without wasting much of our time, because we have a class activity for today, I'm also going to tender my apologies for Tuesday's quiz mishap. So that was something on my part that I didn't really know what went wrong with the site, but it wasn't just going as well as I wanted it to go. And this is me tendering my public apology, and I'm sorry about that. I'll try to do better in other classes, but for today there is no quiz. So what we have is a class activity and an assignment. Okay, so let's move to definition. What is information architecture? So thank you so much everyone for all of these inputs that you've been giving. But now let's go into our class of today, or class for today. What is information architecture? What is information architecture? What is information architecture? If you have heard of information architecture before, have you searched about it? Have you kind of wondered what is information architecture? Is information architecture maybe an architect's method of placing content? I don't know. I don't know. So, what is information architecture? What is information architecture? What is a short form for information architecture is IA. So as I continue talking, instead of mentioning information architecture at every point, I may decide to say IA. Yakubu says information architecture means the ways informations are being thoroughly structured or generated. I'm going to add to Yakubu's definition. I'm going to say information architecture means the ways information are being thoroughly structured or generated on a site or an application. So now we are dealing with digital products. So information architecture in this space is that you are trying to structure information, structure labels, structure different things that you need to put on your website or your application, whether a web application or a mobile application or even a website. Yeah, so someone says that this is Omawumi. Omawumi says, I guess like a blueprint of the product design. Yes, so a blueprint of that thing you are designing. You want to create an architectural plan. That's the word. You want to have like an architectural plan for that particular product that you are building. Joseph says information architecture is the structuring, organizing, and labeling of the content in a clear and effective way so that users can find and use information easily. In fact, you guys are doing well. You guys are doing well. Are you guys getting this from ChatGPT or something? Because Oluwajomiloju has almost the same thing with what Joseph has, because she says it's the practice of organizing, structuring, and labeling content in a clear and logical way so that users can find what they need easily. And sincerely, this is the breakdown. In fact, I'm thinking this is almost like you guys checked my work. So we are looking at information architecture in product design. So someone says, Edith Young says, designers use information architecture as a visual blueprint. Thank you very much. As a visual blueprint that outlines essential navigation. Thank you very much. I love all of these things you people are saying, because it means that we already understand where I'm going to in this definition. She says, or he says, I'm saying Edith Young. So It outlines essential navigation, content, hierarchy, features, and interactions. Okay, not to waste much of our time, organizing information for users to access easily. Okay, thank you very much. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Cuisine. Oh, nice. I like that name. So cuisine by success catered event says in simple definition, it is just like structuring of information. Yes. So let's quickly go into the definition that I've written here. It says that information architecture, often called IA, information architecture, is a map maker of digital products. If you are looking for the short form, this is the definition. This is the short form definition. Is a map maker. Is someone? I think someone said something about it. It plans the blueprint. It is the blueprint of that product that you are making. So Lawal Olatunji says it is the informational structural design. I like that structural design of a product for user consumption. Wow, I really like that. Hero, I like what you are saying here. It says information architecture is the sound of the eyes. I've never heard that before, but I think I'm going to steal this from you. It says information architecture is the sound of the eyes. It leads you to where you are supposed to be. It leads you, it directs you to the places you are supposed to get to so that you are not confused. Now it says that it organizes content so users can find information intuitively. Take an example like a library. Imagine you've gone to a library for the first time and then you are looking for a particular book. Let's say you are looking for the book Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. Now, you want to search for the book maybe by authors first. Now, if you want to search for the books by author and you know the name of the person, you know the name of the person like Chinua Achebe, and maybe I don't know which comes first. I don't know if it is Achebe that comes first or Chinua, but let's say that the way his name is written, Chinua Achebe, is the way they've structured it in that particular library. What you want to look for is you want to look for alphabet C by author. Now you would look for alphabet C by author, and then you start looking for Chinua. By the time you get to Chinua, you then look and say, okay, I'm seeing Chinua now. This is Chinua Achebe. Now you start looking for all his books from maybe A to T, where we have Things Fall Apart. Now, because the librarian has been able to structure the library in such a way that when you are looking for something, you can quickly find it. If you have, maybe the topic or the name of the book or the author of the book, you are able to quickly find that book. The same thing with you now building an application, whether a website or a mobile application. You are like that librarian. You are like that shop manager. You are like that supermarket manager who knows how to append names. In the supermarket where I am right now, you would notice that when you are looking for soap, maybe body soap or maybe deodorant, they already have it written boldly. For people who have gone to maybe ICM or ShopRite, or you would have seen that those boards written, this is for juice, this is for soaps, this is for maybe frozen food, this is for fruits. And because you have seen those names written boldly, you can quickly go to where those things are and you can find what you want to buy. Instead of just running aimlessly in the supermarket, instead of just running aimlessly, walking aimlessly. Before, I used to call it window shopping. Since I'm looking for something and I can't find it, I'll just keep looking around the store. I'll just keep walking around, walking around. But this time around, you are able to say, okay, this particular aisle for this supermarket, maybe we have snacks in this place, maybe we have books in this place. And then for that, people can easily go to that place and get what they want to buy. If you have thought of that, that is information architecture in product design. So let's move further. Information architecture is a systematic approach to structuring, labeling, and organizing of information, whether in your application, in your website, or in your software, to align with what the user needs and what the business goal is. So if you think about this design, or if you think about this definition, this information architecture is more like you being a librarian, structuring how the users move on the application so that they are not lost, so that they can always know how to come back, so that they can always have easy navigation on their website or on that platform. Let me tell you something, that the moment somebody is, I'm going to give an example from what we experienced on Tuesday when we could not use that quiz application very well because maybe, it was looking very, very complex. I'm sure we did not stay for 30 minutes trying to find out how to use it. The moment we discovered it was complex, what did we say? We canceled everything. We just said, please, let's leave this place. And sincerely, I will not even think of going back there for a while, maybe until it becomes easier. Or maybe somebody now comes to tell me that, oh, that particular application is better now, before I think of, okay, let me try it again. That's a very good example. When some things are not structured well, when some things are not organized well in a way that even a layman can understand it, people would leave your platform. People would leave that website that you have designed. People would leave that mobile application that you have designed, that you felt was good, if they don't know where to go to. If they have to call contact support every time to, find their bearing around the application you just told them could solve their problem, then you just see them leaving your platform for no reason. Now, let's move again. Information architecture. We said information architecture considers three factors. Number one, we've always said that we are user-centric, which means that we are focusing on we are considering the user, the person who is using the product, the person who is probably going to subscribe for the product, the person who is going to make sure that we achieve our 1,000th customer, our 1,000th user, our 1 millionth user, our 100 millionth user. Every user is important in every product. So you are considering the users who will be using your platform, which is why you would notice that in different applications right now, you see them doing accessibility checks, trying to make sure that a lot of different kinds of people can use their platform, whether people with abilities or people with disabilities. You are considering the users using your platform. Is this person blind? Is this person sighted? Is this person one-handed? Is this person double-handed? Will this person be busy with one hand at some point? Will this person be driving? There are sometimes I believe that you would have noticed that before on different phones, when calls enter, you can either put it in your ear or maybe you use earpiece. But right about now, you can see people using hands-free to answer their call. You can see people connecting their phones to maybe their system on the car, and then they can still communicate. Why? Because people are thinking of the users. It's not about the designer. I was saying it in one of my classes. I said the designer really does not so matter as much as the users matter. You think about your users first. Now you think about the context. We are going back to the context of the driver driving, and then a very important message comes into his WhatsApp. He can quickly just click on record while he's driving, just see the thing, click on record, and then continue talking to the person. You can even say, Siri, send WhatsApp. You can say, Siri, send, don't, you can say, if you are using an Apple, you can just say, oh, Siri, send a message on WhatsApp to my wife telling her that I am coming home soon. So you are thinking of the user. You are thinking, okay, if the user is driving, context. If the user is farming, maybe the person is in the farm and the network is not as good as maybe 5G. Would the person still be able to send message, and will the message still be able to go? You are thinking of the users. What context would the user be? Will the user be in the bathroom? And then there will be an important message coming in. How will the user relay that message? What if somebody else sends the message? What if the person cannot hear, but the person can see? And somebody sends an audio message to the person. Now on WhatsApp, we have a place for transcribe. So you see that they are thinking of the user. They are thinking of different spaces that the user can be. What if the person is outside? He doesn't want to, start putting his phone in his ear to hear what somebody has said. So he can just transcribe, read everything that the person has said through transcribe without anybody knowing that he was listening to an audio message. Consider the user, consider the context, and consider the information that the users are interacting with. Consider the context, consider the content, and consider the user. Now let's move. Why does information architecture matter? Information architecture matters because it reduces frustration for the user, it makes the application feel very familiar, and it helps you reduce abandoning of application. When people don't understand your application, they abandon it. And you don't want people to use your application and abandon it. You want them to use your products and tell as many people as possible that this product is good. So what do? You create a good information architecture for that particular product. Now, what are the core components of information architecture? Core components of information architecture. We have organization systems. So this was designed in a different way before, but I discovered that we complained last on Tuesday. We complained that we couldn't see my screen. So you see now, this is me considering my users. This is me considering my users who complained last week that they couldn't see what I, was trying to show them. So this time around, I made it as bold can be. And I'm sorry about that as well. Now, organization systems. For organization systems, when you are thinking, we are looking at core components here, core components of information architecture. Now, number one is organization systems. The first one, to organize. Information architecture helps you to what? To organize. Information architecture helps you to organize that particular system in such a, whether in hierarchical content, whether in tree format from most important to least important, whether to, in the form of importance, or whether sequential, that is step by step. Now, you can create your information architecture in the form of hierarchical organizational content. If you are looking at that, you can think of, let's think of an application. So we are thinking of WhatsApp. Let's use WhatsApp because I think almost everybody uses WhatsApp. So if we're looking at WhatsApp now, we are looking at hierarchical content, like what's the first thing that wants to come on that WhatsApp, what people want to see. They want to see their most recent chats. They want to see, they want to see this, they want to, so your hierarchical content, it is your content is drawn up in form of hierarchy. What is the most important to the least important? Imagine you want to see your most recent messages, and the first thing you are seeing is probably A to Z of the users on WhatsApp, of your maybe contact list. You want to see the most important, but they are showing you maybe the A, Atolagbe Esther, B, Bashir, and you've never even spoken to those people in years. And your most important content now comes in maybe Lawal wanting to send you a message, or Joseph J. So you have to scroll to J before you now respond to Joseph. I mean, it would not be right in that instance. So you want to quickly get, for that now, parent to child, they are telling you, okay, these are all your chats. Now, if you click on all your chats, you enter into it and then you see those chats in the from most important to, continuing. So that's the tree structure, or that's the from importance to unimportance. From parent to child is the, maybe you open WhatsApp now, you see all the chats. Let me try to open WhatsApp on my phone so that I can follow what I'm saying. So I'm trying to open WhatsApp on my phone. So this is me opening WhatsApp, and I'm seeing my navigation bar at the bottom. So I have all my chats, that is parents. I have updates, parents. I have communities, parents, and I have all my calls, parents. I have, from there, I can now move to the chat. Now I'm in chat, and then I have child. the child of that now, we can have all my charts from the most important to the least important. Then I have all my unread messages. I have all my favorite messages. I have all my groups. I have new customer. I have new order. I have pending payment. I have paid, order complete, important, follow up, lead, etc. So someone says, Afolayan says, I think that's how WhatsApp status is now in terms of hierarchy. Yes, because you want to check the status of the person that maybe you really chat with the most. You discover that if you're not careful, that's what comes. You just see that instead of seeing the person that sent a message just like immediately, you see the person's status that maybe you chat with the most. For example, if my husband sends a message or a WhatsApp status, I see that as the top on my list for my status. So you think of your users, or you think of it in hierarchical format, parent to child sequence. You have the sequence of step by step, maybe based on tasks. So let's say the end goal is that I complete product design and then I get certified by DSA. So I start from the first step, the step of awareness. When we're talking about user journey map, we mentioned awareness, we mentioned consideration, we mentioned the onboarding and all of that. So the organization system would now move in that sequence, the sequence from awareness to me getting internship placements. That is step by step from start to finish. Now we have matrix. Matrix comes in multiple parts. Like for people who are Yorubas, they will understand when I say Onokon Woja. It's not one road that is leading to a particular place. It's not one road, it's not one flow that is leading to a particular to buy. Let's say you want to buy a gown from a particular e-commerce application. So it's not until maybe you pass through this place, you maybe after you see this or you see that, you can check through anywhere to get to that red dress. You can check through maybe new maybe new, what do they call it now, new products. You can check through new products to see the red gown. You can check through fashion to see the red gown. You can click on a button to see the red gown. You can check you can search to see the red gown and all of those places. So there are different places that you can come through to see. Someone says Temu. I'm not mentioning any brand. So you can search, you can pass through a normal flow, you can check from different angles to just get to that particular place that you really want to get through. So that one is organizational systems. Now you can look at another core component, which is labeling. For labeling, labeling systems help users find content using simple words or phrases. Labels are a clear work that groups content together to make it more accessible. Your job as a product designer is to create labels that express a lot of data in just a few words, following the principles of effective UX writing. So when you get into labeling all of those things, that's why you see that. Let me look at YouTube. If I go on YouTube, or let's still stay on WhatsApp. I'm still on WhatsApp now. So I'm on WhatsApp, and then imagine WhatsApp for chats. You have maybe a very, very big grammar for chats, or maybe for updates, you have a very big grammar for updates that people don't even know that, oh, that is updates. Communities, maybe a very big grammar, something that is very verbose. You understand? Calls, maybe you see something else there. You want those labels to be as simple as possible. Very, very, very simple. As in, don't even stress. I think I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but I would ask us to read a book. There's a book that I always tell my students to read. In fact, from my first class, that book is Don't Make Me Think. I think by Phil Krug or something, yeah. That book is Don't Make Me Think. Sincerely, you don't want your users to think while they are on your application. You don't want your users to think. People are giving me list of things. Heart for favorites. Someone says a plus icon for new messages or contacts. Yes, so you want to give clear messages. You want to give clear things that people can see and understand why they are here. They are not going to be confused. If you're a product designer in a company, you're supposed to label things in the most unique, in the most beautiful, in the most simplified way. I hope we're getting that. Now, there's the part of navigation. Navigation is very important in information architecture. A navigation system refers to how users can move through your website to access information. Now, you have different kinds of navigation. You have your breadcrumbs, you have your navigation bar, you have your pagination. Please give me a minute. Okay, so someone asked and said, who wrote the book Don't Make Me Think? So it is written by Steve Krug. Steve Krug, Stevekrug. So you can look for that book and you can read it. If they are requesting that you purchase the book, please purchase it and then you read the book. All right, so let's continue. Now, I was explaining about navigation, and then I said navigation refers to how the users can move through your website. We've talked about you organizing the system, you organizing your system in a way that you can either organize by hierarchical order, you can organize by your organogram method, from the process of maybe the most important to the least important. You can use parents to child method. You can use any of that. You can use your matrix method. You can use your sequential method for your organization. Now, for label, you want to make it as simple as possible. You want to make it as simple as possible. Now, for navigation, there are different kinds of navigation. I've mentioned breadcrumbs, I've mentioned navigation bar, pagination, sub-navigation menus, and so on and so forth. All of this type of navigation gives the content more context, and then it helps users to move throughout the different areas on their website. Now, this is going to take me to YouTube. So let me just open YouTube and then we talk. Since most of us are on YouTube and YouTube is very, very relatable. Now, what you are going to see now is that you are watching the product design class. So I've paused mine. So you are watching the product design class. And just directly after the name, the Incubator Hub, you are going to see the place for liking and the place for unliking. Now, those ones are maybe different labelings that they've given you. You can either share, you can report, you can clip, and so on and so forth. You can even save. You can chat publicly. You can chat live. You can decide not to chat. You can subscribe, of which I expect everybody to have subscribed. You can subscribe, you can watch other videos. Now, if you click on that part where I'm not sure, let me close this. If you click on description, yes, that was where I went to. So if you click on descriptions, it takes you to a different navigation method again. It shows you different videos. It shows you different videos. It shows you about the Incubator Hub. It shows you their Facebook, their Twitter, their Instagram handle. All of those are different navigations. It is taking you, it is moving you through the website. It is taking you to a different place that you can, flow through the websites. I hope we understand what I'm saying. So you can see all of that method, different navigation types that you can also make use of on your product. Now we have the search. For example, you go to YouTube and then you want to search for the Incubator Hub. You can just click on the search bar and you can search for the Incubator Hub. Let's say you are not looking for the Incubator Hub. but you are looking for product design. You can search for product design, and somehow it might you might have seen one of the classes of Incubator Hub there. So the search bar or the search place can also help the users look for things that they are interested in. Let's say you want to learn how to design fast, how to use Figma. You just go to YouTube, you search, and then you see different things, and then you begin to scroll through until you see the one that you really feel like watching, and then you watch that. So you can use the search bar as also a method of helping the users understand how they can flow through the content on your page. Please, if you have any questions, you can put the questions here. Someone says, this is Dolapo. Dolapo says, please, can we have a practical class on how to create information architecture for a website, ma, to understand better, to enhance better understanding? All right, no problem, no problem, no problem. Let's see how that works because of time. Let's see how that works. Now, many people cannot afford to buy data. Some people are going through. Oh, God will help us in Nigeria. You keep praying for Nigeria and you keep working hard. All right, okay, so the 8 principles of information architecture. This might be a lot, but just bring it down to a different level. I'll try to see how I can bring it to a level for us to understand. Now we are looking at the principle of objects in information architecture. And this principle of objects just tells us that you should treat every content that you are putting on that website as if it were a living thing. That's the summary of that. Treat every object, treat every content, treat every object, treat every content as if it were a living being. Now, when you treat every content as if it were a living being, you can think of how those pieces can relate to themselves. That's the principle of objects. So, for example, you want to create. I'm trying to look for an example. You want to create a social media application, and you want a place for maybe posting of stories, posting of reels, posting of all of that. So you want a place where people can maybe post. So you have a button that says post, and then you have a drop down. But directly under that drop down, you now have things, that's a drop down icon. Directly under that, you now have like different drop down options, like maybe post reel, post story, post maybe a normal post that you want to post, and all of those things. So you have treated posts as a parent, and then you now have children under that post. You are treating that object post as a living being, and you have given it children to cater for. So for whatever you are doing, maybe you want to design a landing page. The landing page, it is a parent, it is standing on its own, it is maybe like a grandfather. That grandfather now, you want to give it maybe an attribute, you want to give it things that can support it. What are the different navigational elements that will be on this landing page? What are the different things that this landing page can use to actually turn into a living being, and people can, people can work with that particular landing page. So treat every content as if it is a living being. And if you read what I wrote here, I said content is made up of objects that have attributes, that have life cycles, that have behaviors. Treat the content like a living thing. You can think of what kind of content you want to make and how each piece relates to one another. You can do a lot of things on YouTube, but you can also watch a live class. You can watch only music. You can watch only skits. You can watch, different things. You can do a lot, but there's a way YouTube has created the object such that when you are even looking for these things, you don't even know you are following the information architecture for that kind of thing. You understand? So the principle of objects, treat every object as if it were a living being. The principle of disclosure. When users navigate your site, they use what they already know to predict what should come next. For example, I want to buy something on an e-commerce website. I have used so many e-commerce websites, so I know how that e-commerce website should look like. Now, when I come into your e-commerce website, I am supposed to almost predict what your e-commerce website should look like. Now, when you start creating something that can make people confused, they start wondering if it is a scam or not. So this helps ease uncertainty and empowers users to decide if they want to dig deeper or just leave your website. Show just enough information to start, then reveal more information as needed. We have the principle of choice. When users have too many choices, it can overwhelm users and lead them to abandonment. So what you want to do is you want to offer some limited choices. When you look at the laws of UX, you would see that at some point they advise that you give about 4 to 5 choices to your users to see at a whole view, so that your users are not given like 25 choices at a goal and then they are confused. You should give them limited choices, offer meaningful options, not too many. A website should provide clear choices, not too many choices. Don't flood your users with too many choices that they should make. Offer limited choices at strategic places so that your users can always wish to stay on your website. Now, the principle of exemplars. The principle of exemplars. Always use examples to explain things. Always use examples to explain things. For example, if a store has a footwear section showing pictures of sneakers and boots would help people know what is inside that place before they even choose it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Efunkoya. I see that you are trying to get those things together. Thank you. Now, always do what? Always give example. Use example. For example, if you are just hearing my voice, you are just hearing my voice. At some point you will want to see who is talking. At some point to say, okay, this is the person that is talking, so that you can put that as a picture in your face or in your mind when you are trying to remember one or two things that I said at some point. And that's why you see that many people are requesting for PDFs. Why? Because they want examples. They want to see something to read. They want to see something to check on. Examples. That is the principle of exemplars. Now let's move. The principle of multiple classification. The principle of multiple classification. Let users find things in different ways. Let users find things in different ways. There is no one right way for people to look at the information on your site. So let them find the buttons at some different strategic places. You understand? Let people, if I want to search for a red gown on maybe an e-commerce website, or I want to search for product design on a website so that I can learn product design. Let me find it from different, from doing maybe from the search or maybe from the navigation, because not everybody will not act the same way on your website. Everyone will not act the same way on your website. So you need to think about different, diverse people, diverse places where they can come in from and how they can use your website. Multiple classification. Let people find things in different ways on your website. So let's read what I've written here. We said that it is critical that you provide a number of different classification systems to guide users through the process of finding content. Now we have the principle of front doors. The principle of front doors, which was what I was explaining prior. The principle of front doors. Assume people enter your system from different places. I just said that for multiple classification. Classify it in different methods. Why? Because of the principle of front doors. People enter your website from any angle, from every angle. There is no, in fact, you might think, oh, you cannot even think of where users can come into your system. You cannot think of it, where they'll be searching for something from. Have you ever searched for something from the footer before, from the footer of a website before? Because me, I have. So to tell you that people search for something from anywhere, people get links from anywhere to get into people's systems. So assume people enter your system from different places, not only the home page, not just the home page. So every page needs to let the users know where they are and what they can do next. If I'm in the About Us segment, let me know that this is the About Us. If I'm in the category segment, let me know that this is category, and let me know how to go back to the home page to see what I'm looking for. You understand? All right, so let's continue. The principle of focused navigation. The principle of focused navigation. Keep your navigation as simple as possible. Instead of one giant menu for everything, split them into clear purposes. So help your users something that they will understand, help them create, clear navigation. All right. Now, the principle of growth, and which is the last one, the principle of growth. However large your site is today, you must assume that your content will continue to expand over time. I will use Google for an example of that. You see, Google keeps expanding and it does not spoil other products that they have. Even those products keep updating and keep expanding. But you see that because of the strong information architecture they have, they've been able to grow without tampering with the most basic information that the users need. So always plan ahead, so that you can help your website to grow, or so that you can help your application to grow. So we've talked about 8 principles: the principle of objects, the principle of choice, the principle of disclosure, the principle of exemplars, the principle of classification, the principle of front doors, the principle of growth, and then the principle of focused navigation. Someone asked the question, that's Sorrow. He said the principle of front door, is it similar to the matrix in the organization system? Not really. So for the principle of matrix, we are saying for the principle of matrix that you need to create, you know, different, you need to create like a path, or people coming in from different areas. Yeah. So you need to structure how people would enter your system and how they would move on that system. But for the principle of front doors, you need to make them know the place they are. So, for example, you just came into YouTube from probably a link. But when you came into YouTube from a link, you were able to decipher that this is the Incubator Hub's YouTube house. Let's use that, YouTube house. And then you're able to decipher that, oh, this particular link is for product design. Why? Because YouTube has been able to clearly define the page that you are on. That is the principle of front door. I don't know if Musoro understands what I've just said. But for organization, you are trying to organize the system in the way that if people enter from, you can create different entry for people, and you can create how they would use the system from those different entries. I can say the principle of multiple classification is close to what you use, matrix for. All right, so Victory says some recent apps constrict you, so you don't have means to navigate out of the application. You need to know how to move in and out of an application. That's what I would say. I wouldn't say any other thing. Okay, so someone says I should explain the principle of disclosure in a layman language. All right. So I'm going to just read that again so that I would not go out of context. When you are on a website, it says when users navigate a new site, they use what they already know. So let's take, for instance, we are going to use Jumia and Temu. Because you probably have used Jumia, Konga, and other e-commerce applications before, because you have used other e-commerce applications before, when you downloaded Temu, you were able to, search, you were able to purchase some things on Temu. Why? Because you have used an application that looks or that feels like e-commerce that Temu is bringing your way. I don't know if I've been able to explain it. For instance, if you have used maybe Coursera before, if you have used Coursera, then you now download Udemy for the first time, you are going to see some kind of similarity on those applications, and then you won't feel so confused. If you have used maybe any Bible application before to read Bible, by the time you download maybe a new Bible application, you want to see some correlation so that you are not, confused on that Bible application. I don't know if you understand. That's the principle of disclosure. Because by the time you enter another Bible application and then you are seeing something different, you feel like, I'm not sure I'm in the right place, or there is something confusing. So you want that principle of disclosure. Let us see that there is a similarity between your product and a similar product. Okay, so someone says I should explain the principle of multiple classification. People are entering the website from different angle. People find things from different angle. Imagine that you want to search for. Now, I'm going to use this class, for example. Some of us came from the link that Incubator Hub sent to us. But some of us, when we use that link, we just, got into YouTube and maybe we pressed something and it took us to a different place. So we had to go to search on YouTube to look for the Incubator Hub. I don't know if I'm saying somebody's mind here. Now I'm explaining multiple classification. So some of us now search for the Incubator Hub. And after searching for the Incubator Hub, we had to check different live classes until we came to product design. That is because you have found a different way of coming into this class, apart from the way that Incubator Hub had already sent, has already set. So there is no one direct way that this is the direct way that you should be able to use this particular application. For example, you want to send money to somebody on OPay. OPay has made it in such a way that OPay already knows the users and how they use their product. They know that somebody has probably sent the number to them. They've probably copied the number on their they've probably copied the number. So if I want to send money to someone now, I copy the account number that the person has sent to me on WhatsApp or maybe on my text inbox. When I copy that number and I just open OPay, what would OPay do? OPay will just give me the number of the name of the person. If it is OPay to OPay, it just tells me this is the name of the person, this is every detail. Do you want to send money to that person now? That is multiple classification, because OPay had already found out that when you copy that number, instead of you going into OPay, going to search, going to find, or going to look for the account, the bank name, then the account, pasting the account name and all of that, OPay has simplified it for you. Just copy the number, come on OPay and send the money. There's also what Access Bank does. The moment before you even log in, it gives you shortcuts. So because they found out that people can, find things from different ways, there is no one right way to something. They are giving you different methods of achieving the same task. I don't know if I've been able to explain that. I don't know if I've been able to explain that. I don't know if I've been able to explain that. Okay. All these principles can be applied to your design to make your design work. Yeche, Chinumezi, everything, I'm not sure I pronounced your name right. If I didn't, I'm so sorry. So you said in design, can one or two of the principles be applied in design, or it's better to use multiples of these principles. You can use, if you know that, okay, using one and sticking to that would work. But I believe that if you use everything, it would actually make your work even more beautiful. It will make your work come out well. All of these things are things that you should put when you are creating your information architecture. Wow, time has gone. Woo. All right, so let's move. Okay, okay, okay. We've not had our attendance, Abimbolu, so please just hold on. We'll soon have our attendance by 8 o'clock by 9 o'clock on the dot. Yeah. So Jacob Nelson's top 10 information architecture mistakes. You can find this online. You can find this online actually. The moment you just check for Jacob Nelson's top 10 architectural IA mistakes, you can find that online. All right. So Um, number one says, don't treat your website like a giant pile of stuff with no organization. That means don't just throw all your content, like articles or products, onto the site without grouping related items. What you need to do is you need to create structure on your website. Create structure on your website. Every good website. Someone was asking, let me see the question. Yenche says, okay, I think I've answered this question. So Victor says, do I know an example of a product design that has all the eight principles factored into it? Google has all the principles factored into it. Google is one example. Microsoft Microsoft is also a very good example of something that has, in fact, some of these e-commerce applications, some of these e-commerce websites have factored in these eight principles there, and it works for them. That's why you see people using a lot of e-commerce application. You understand? So even Coursera uses this a lot too. Coursera is very, very good with this. I think I've even mentioned more than one. So you can use that to check how all of that. The thing is, let me explain something. When you see a good website, you don't know that you have seen a good website. But when you see a bad website, you know you have seen a bad website. That's the good part. When you see a good website, everything just flows. Everything just goes well. Everything just looks good. You are not thinking on that website. Everything is, smooth. But when you see a website that has issues, you know that that website has issues. So that's that. All right. Okay, so let's quickly run through this. Number one, if you don't create structure on your website, you are making a mistake. So create structure on your website. I have 1 more minute to go. 1 more minute and then I'll be done. Number two, don't let search results dump users onto a page without showing where they are in the site or how to explore the nearby content. I think we've explained this before. So just don't hide the site structure from search users. Integrate search and structure together. And I see that I still have some few seconds to go. Don't assume users want to jump straight to details without an overview. So always give them an overview. Always give them an overview when they're on any page. For example, about us. Tell them that this is about us. Tell them a bit of the about us before you now start breaking it down for them to understand the whole summary even before they start reading details. All right, so we'll be having our break now so that we can take our attendance, after which we will come back for the remaining section of the class. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon. All right, can we hear me? Can we still hear me? Can we hear me right now? So you don't really need to put submitted when you are done submitting. No, you don't need to tell us that you have submitted. You understand? So if you've submitted, just come back to the class and let's enjoy the class. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Um, so we stopped at the second place where we said, don't hide the site structure, integrate search and structure. No, I think we stopped at the third place where we then said, don't assume users want to jump straight to details without an overview. And then I gave an example that if you are going to create an About Us page, if you are going to create the About Us page, try to give a little bit of an information before you then, tell them. Like, I don't know if you've seen any contact us page designed by people where they'll just tell you, oh, you can contact us. They'll give you like very short details about things you can contact them about before they now start, breaking things down. And then under it, they still put frequently asked questions. So don't just jump at people like that. Don't skip main pages for your category. And even when you don't skip main pages, still add a bit of details, a bit of overview rather, a bit of a summary about what you want to tell them about. And then you can now give them that. If you are looking for the attendance link, that is at the description box, I believe. At the description box of the class of today, you would find the attendance link. I want to be sure of what I'm saying. So I'm going there right now as well. Yes, so you can see I have it on my system at the description. I have it on my phone at the description box. You will just see a place that says to take your attendance, click here. So when you click there, it will take you to where you are supposed um to have your attendance. All right. So number 4 says, don't put in too many categories. Don't put in too many categories, creating a confusing mess of options. Don't do that. There are some websites you get to, and then navigation section, at the navigation section, you see up to 10 links that people can click to, take them to other places. No, that's not good enough. Just try to summarize those links into something small so that your users are not overwhelmed. Your users are not overwhelmed when they see your website. All right, now it says don't list the same product or content in every possible section just because you can. Summarize things. Now, don't create separate mini sites or sections that feel disconnected from the main site. Don't forget to link back to the main site or include them in your search. That's why you see some people using pop-ups. You see some people using pop-ups. You see some people using these modals that is still in that application, so that it doesn't feel like you are taking them extremely away or you are separating them from the main application that they are working with. Don't hide menus and don't make it hard for people to find. Don't hide menus, don't make it hard for people to find. Don't design your navigation in a way that people will not know that it is a navigation. All right. Now, don't use navigation that moves or pops up. Allow your navigation to be there so that your people are not too confused. People can always go back to that navigation. It says don't make menus that are hard to control or that distract users. Don't make menus that are hard to control or that distract the users. Now, don't change the navigation as users move through the site. Don't let menus or options disappear or shift unexpectedly. Don't overload the site. Don't overload the site with too many navigations. Don't clutter the interface with competing menus, links, tools. Allow your interface to breathe. Let your interface breathe. So allow it to be clear. Don't muddle up everything on your interface. Allow your interface to be clean. Allow your interface to be clear. Allow your interface to be smooth as possible. Now, don't use weird, fancy, or made up names. Remember, we explained that the labels should be clear and should be easily understood. Now, see, don't use weird, fancy, or made up names for menus and buttons. Don't assume your users will understand your creative labels. Don't assume that your users will understand. If you say carry me go as a button, you create a button and then the label you keep there or the label you put there is carry me go. Whereas that is supposed to be for sign up. And then you expect that people will understand carry me go is sign up. No, people will just say, where are you carrying us to? You will not carry us to where we don't know, and then they will leave your website. All right, now I think we'll come back to this because of time. So let's move to information architecture steps. Now you need to research user habits. When you've researched the habits of the user, so you see that we are still going back to research, which is why your research is very, very important. Now you also need to create categories. So when you found out the user problems, you now come back and say, okay, how do we solve this problem? You find different ways of solving the problem. You have created your user journey map, you understand your user persona, you've done all of those, prior things that you're supposed to do. So now you have come into the information architecture stage. You've seen the habits of the users. Now you can now use the habits of the users to create categories. Of course, you've also done your market research. So you can now create the categories. So this is the category. Let's go back to maybe you want to learn, you want to get a certificate at the end of this. You now know that, okay, there should be, in fact, for me just saying you want to get a certificate, there should be a place for certificate collection already on your website. There should be a place for learning of courses. There should be a place for courses. There should be a place for signing up, logging in. There should be a place for maybe buying the course or registering so that you can, so that you can start the course. There should be a place for enrollment, whether the enrollment is going to be for free or the enrollment is going to be a paid one. There should be I've already started my categories like that. I'm already categorizing. Then there should be a place for search so that even if people don't know what they want, they can just start searching. I want to be a doctor in future, so let me search doctor. So from doctor now, I see courses that doctor would do. From there, I can now say, okay, our DSA is offering doctoral course in product management or product design, and then I go there. So there should be, invest in search function, and then from there, you can now start creating those wireframes that can start linking people from one place to the other. Now, this was something I did for Netflix. I'm not sure it is visible, so we would not go there since it's too clumped up. Also, this was something of, this was something I also kind of just wrote down for, oops, sorry about that. This was something I just wrote down. This was something I just wrote down for Netflix. So for people that love Netflix a lot, we know that Netflix has good structure. We know that Netflix has good labeling. We know that Netflix has good organization and even good navigation. You would see that they have global navigation, the top navigation that takes you to, different places. They have that. They have the local navigation that is category specific. So they have navigations like maybe your criminal movies, or your horror movies, your action movies, your thriller, your documentary, and so on and so forth. They even have supplementary navigation for your search that you can filter by dates, you can filter by rating, you can filter by different things. Don't say I like movies, though. Don't judge me at this point. So you can do contextual navigation, related content. So if I've been watching comedy movies for a while, you'll see that my navigation starts relating to, comedy. Now you also have the user journey navigation. if I've been maybe watching a series, I can continue watching those series. You understand? Now you can see I've already talked about the navigation that way. You can see the organization. They have algorithmic that algorithmic organization is for things that maybe you've really been searching for, videos that you've been movies that you've been watching, documentaries you've been watching, and the others. You get? So from all of these, from all of the things that you've been watching, you can start getting the same thing you do for the same thing that happens for Instagram. If you've been watching sermons of maybe Daddy Geo for a long time, you see that the moment there's any Daddy Geo video that just comes on Instagram, you just see it. Any new one, even the older one, you just keep seeing Daddy Geo every time. So the same thing with algorithmic organization. So there's also the hybrid organization, which is the combination of technology and alphabetical or popularity. You just see that you see contextual organization. This is Netflix. This is how Netflix has been able to organize their such a way that it keeps captivating people. It keeps captivating people. All right. So we have the labels like the genre names, we have the actor information, we have the production details and the likes, we have ratings. You can check the ratings. That's labeling. So for labeling, for the rating, they already tell you that this is PG, this is 18 plus, this is comedy, this is that. You already see all of that. Then they also give you content warnings. This has vulgar languages, this is parental guidance is needed for this one, and so on and so forth. So that's rating. Then you have the navigational, my list, my home, my TV shows, documentaries, and the likes. Then you have contextual, which is new movies, trending movies, and so on and so forth. So you can just check that out, and then you'll find it really interesting. All right, so let's go. Let's move forward further. Now, this is an example of how on FigJam, this is an example of how an information architecture would look like. So from Netflix application, you can see their homepage. You can see things that are structured on their homepage. You can see maybe their hero section. Then you can see maybe the personalized recommendations and so on. I think it's really small, but if you zoom in, you would be able to see it. I'm not sure I can do that here. All right, so let's move from there. Now, this is an example of how an information architecture would also look like. When you've created maybe a website, this is how the information architecture is drawn out. Now, let's move quickly to card to card sorting. Someone says all this structure and stuff for only Netflix. Yes, a lot of thought process goes into product design. Product design is not just you see a website and then you copy and paste the website or you clone the website. That's not product design. For product design, you're a problem solver. If you are going to solve a problem, you have to know how to think. You have to know how to think in a very tangible way to be able to solve that problem. Now, what is card sorting? Card sorting is also something that you would find yourself doing a lot if you are working with organizations. Card sorting is a research technique that helps you discover how people understand and categorize information, and can also help in information architecture. So if you are able to do your card sorting well, you'll be able to create your organizational systems well. Now, what card sorting does is it helps you just, it helps you categorize information. It helps you act like a librarian. It helps you categorize information clearly. Card sorting involves creating a set of cards, and then each represent a concept or an item, and you ask people to group these cards in a way that makes sense to them. So it's a research method. You can use this to understand the mindset of people. You can use this to understand how people think, and that can also help you to build a website or an application that is universal and that is beautiful. So when do I start card sorting? Card sorting is most useful when you've already gotten the information or content you need to organize, but you are not sure exactly how to organize it. While card sorting is typically used in the early stages of design process, there is no fixed there is when there is no fixed information architecture. It is also common to use this technique to make changes or alterations to an information architecture. So you see that I said before we even got here that if you know how to do your card sorting well, you would know how to create information architecture well. Of course, an e-commerce site can represent a product. Yes, Temu is a product. Jumia is a product. Konga is a product. What other? ShopRite is a product. So ShopRite can bring you in to create a website for them. Any supermarket or any product, any website you have online, you can categorize them as a product since they are having a digital space online. So yes, they are all products. Yeah. So different types of card sortings. We have the open card sorting. This is the type of card sorting that you do within groups that makes sense to you. So you sort cards into groups that make sense to you. You sort cards, like different people just sort cards into groups that make sense to them, and then they label each groups by themselves. That's open. You are sorting, you have different information, you have lots of information. No, a card cannot represent a product. A card would represent an information. So let me break it down like this. Okay, I think we are still going to see a place where I would break it down. So let's be calm. Now, when we talk about open card sorting, we are talking about maybe a group of people just have different cards with different information, and then you just start, you just start grouping those information to different places. Then you can now label them at the top. Let's continue. For closed card sorting, or yes, for closed card sorting, you sort cards into group, you give the groups. For this one, you are giving them their labels, you are giving them their terminologies. Which one are we going to put for home? Which one are we going to put for this? Which one are we going to put for that? You already title it whatever thing you want to title it. You already title it the way you want to title it. So let's pick YouTube, for example. You want to create an information architecture for YouTube. Now you have different, let me open YouTube so that I can see some things there. So you have different, I have to go to home. Yeah. So you have different things that you want to put. Probably, let's say that in your card, you have a place for all. You just have all videos. You have live videos. You have skills videos. You have a place for podcasts. You have a label, another card. You have labeled another card for music videos. You have labeled another card for things that I watch, user interface design videos. You have labeled another one for prayer videos and the likes. Now, you have a card for short videos. You have a card for let's say Dunsi Oyekon. You have a card for that, and then you now move. Let's see, you have a place for subscription, subscribed videos, and then you have a place for your own content. Now, I have created all of these cards. If you give me these cards and you say, Esther, structure these cards accordingly, I would structure these cards in such a way that all of this might fall under my home page. Like, these are the things I really want to see. These videos, this is how I want it to look like on my. So you can call them labels. Someone says like description, more like labels. Me, I will call them labels, or I will call them categorizations. Categories. You are just breaking them into different categories. Now you have the hybrid card sorting, where you sort card into groups you have given, but people can also create their own groups as well. Let's move. You have a you have a class activity. Now, this would help us in card sorting. This class activity, just take a piece of pen and a paper, or you can use the chat section to, start structuring what you are seeing here. You have a card sorting for a website where users can access a tech skill to learn. So these are your cards. You have different cards for course search bar, you have cards for course syllabus, you have cards for course progress tracker, you have a card for assignment submissions, internship listings, filter by skill level, enroll now button, video lectures, peer review system, apply for internships, final project guidelines. These are very important things. I think we have something here that I cannot. Oops, sorry about that. Sorry, I'm supposed to go back. All right. So you have different cards here. You have the one for profile, dashboard certificate. You have for certificate of completion. You have for quiz. You have for payment options. You have course preview video. You have instructor bio. You have onboarding checklist, discussion forum, share certificate on LinkedIn, and support and contact support. Now, this is your classwork. Your classwork is to start categorizing all of these cards. Put them in the right. We don't have a category right now, so this is open. Put the ones that you feel are similar, put them in their similar category and give them a heading or give them a category. For example, I might say course search bar, course syllabus, they go together, and right on top of it, I can say course. I'm not saying that's what you should do. I'm just giving you an example. So let's try that. Let's try that. We have just 3 to 4 minutes to do that. Someone says, is card sorting the same as affinity diagram? Now, for affinity diagram, that is after you've just carried out a survey and then you want to create an affinity diagram for the survey that you've carried out so that you can understand what the users want. It is related because I think you also do card sorting in affinity diagram. So it is related, is related. You can use that it's not the same as affinity diagram, but it is related. They are still methods of carrying out research. So I'm seeing you guys should help me out here. We have 3 minutes to go. 3 minutes to go. Your classwork. Start combining them. You have to do it like it's not everything that will be in home. It's not everything that will be in home. There are different categories for different things. I'm happy we are doing this classwork so that we can see who or what, or so we can see who is following me. 3 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go. If you cannot see the write-up, I think you can check if you're no, you're just writing it out. You don't need to submit this. If you cannot see it clearly, I think you should check let me go back to it. I think I prefer giving real life examples now. I don't know why. So you are watching the video, but you cannot see it clearly. What you can do is to check settings. When you check settings, you are going to see quality. Go to settings, you are going to see quality. Then you hit quality and then you increase the quality of that video. When you increase the quality of that video, you'll be able to see it clearly. When you increase the quality of your video, you'll be able to see it clearly. So go to settings. Go to settings. When you get to settings, when you get to settings, when you get to settings, you increase the quality of your video. All right, I'm liking what I'm seeing now. Someone says internship listings and apply for internship. You are categorizing that together. I like that. Someone is categorizing course search bar, filter by skill level, filter by programming language as search. Oh my God, I like this. 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 Course search bar, filter by skill level, filter by programming. Oh my God, you guys are on point. Now, because of time, we'll be moving to, okay, so you have 25 cards, group them into any category. All right, no problem. Let's move now. Let's move now. This is my answer. So for enrollment and payments, this is what me have done. Your the heading at the top may not be the same as yours, so don't feel like, oh, I didn't write enrollment and payment. This was what I just decided. Yeah. So for enrollment and payment, we have the enroll now, we have the payment option, we have the onboarding checklist. Yeah. For course discovery, how you will discover my courses, we have course search bar, we have filter by skill level, we have filter by course, we have course preview, we have instructor, and so on. Me, for learning experience, I have given video lectures, downloadable resources, exercises, quizzes, assignment submission, and so on and so forth. Now, for learning experience, for this part now, you've done your final project, you finished your progress, your course progress tracker is tracking you, and then you already have like a discussion forum. Yeah. And then for your certifications and careers, you have certificate of completion, share certificate on LinkedIn, Instagram, internship listings, apply for internship, resume builder tool, and then finally for user profile and support, you have profile dashboard, which is certificate progress and so on, and then you have contact support. I don't know if we're learning something. I don't know if we're learning. Are we following me? All right, someone has said yes. Okay, okay. I think really what you guys are putting here is really amazing, and I love it. I love it. So for course, someone says course search bar, course syllabus, video lecture, assignment submission, and then quizzes. That's beautiful. That means that you have taken me this one now, you took me through the step by step. You see now, you took me through organizational systems step by step. That's sequential. So for this one now, you know that you have to search for a course. When you search for that course, you need to check probably the syllabus. When you check the syllabus, you need to look at maybe video lectures, and then you need to look at assignment submission. You need to carry out quiz. So you have given me step by step, which is beautiful. I like that. You see, so we have onboarding checklist for onboarding, enroll now, and then payment option. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love this. I love this. All right, so let's move. Let's move. Let's move. Let's move. Let's move. Now, I believe that by now we should be able to do a bit of card sorting. A bit of card sorting. All right. Yes. So someone is still asking me if affinity diagram is the same thing as card sorting. And I said earlier, no, affinity diagram is not the same thing as card sorting. Card sorting is a bit different from affinity diagram. All right. You can't believe you are stressing your brain after graduating. To be a leader, you have to be a reader, and you have to be able to think well, think deep. I used to tell my students in some of my life classes that your hobby would be thinking. If you want to be a good designer, a great designer, your hobby would be thinking. So let's run to user flow. Let's run through user flow. User flow refers to a diagram that shows the step-by-step journey of a user through a website, an application, or a system. User flow refers to a diagram that shows the step-by-step journey of a user through a website or a system. This is an example of how a user flow should be. How do you create a user flow? First, you need to define your goals. You need to identify the tasks that you want to achieve. You need to understand whether you are using Figma or you are using any other tool for your user flow. You need to be able to sketch your design. You need to validate and then finalize the process. Now, we need to understand the shapes that we use in user flow before we even go to user flow. Now, you see this first shape, you see the start, you see the decision, you see the group, you see the input, you see the process, the data, and then end. And you also see your flows, all of these arrows that lead you to flowing and then association. Someone said I should explain user flow again. User flow is just a diagram. Anyway, it's not just, it is a diagram. It is a visualization diagram that shows you the step-by-step journey of a user through a website or through an application. For example, you are searching for Incubator Hub on YouTube. Maybe you are a first-time user. That means you need to sign up on YouTube. If you have to sign up, how would you sign up on YouTube? When you are done signing up on YouTube, what next would you do? You'd probably have to search. When you search, then you find Incubator Hub, then you subscribe to Incubator Hub so that you can always get push notifications every time they post a video or when they are live. Do we understand that? I'm just giving you a short flow for YouTube or Incubator Hub YouTube. So that's that. So you just understand the flow step by step. Now, how do you create a user flow? So that's where we are right now. We are talking about different shapes that you use in creating a user flow. The first one is the start shape. You can use whether a circle or this type of, button, this type of rounded corner rectangle. You can use it to show the beginning of a, what do I call this now? The beginning of a flow. Yes, the start of a flow or the end of a flow. You can use this type of shapes to represent the start of a flow or the end of a flow. So let's move again. You can use this diamond shape, this diagonal shape, to represent decisions that you would make. So for example, it's very it's more like a flowchart about how you would move through that particular website. Yes. So let's take, for example, let's go back to the story of YouTube. You want to sign up on YouTube so that you can watch Incubator live video. So what you want to do, the first decision is you want to sign up. You understand? So you have to create that decision, sign up. You have to create that decision, sign up. So that is a decision, whether you want to log in or you want to sign up. Now, there's a place for group. This represents group. And this group, it says a group in a user flow can contain process and data. A group in a user flow would contain process and data, and it will show that an action has probably been submitted to a database and it is expecting feedback from the site. So that means a lot of things are going on in that process, or yes, in that process. So that's why you are showing this as a group. Now, this shape would mean input. When you see this shape, just recognize this as an input, which means that this user probably wants to input the number of portion of food he wants to buy, or the number of, or his login details, like his name, like his password, anything that you would want to type something into for would require this input, this input, this input, this input. Now, this shape is for process. So that means that it is a shape, this process shape shows you that you want to click on something, or maybe there's a page you just want to interact with. That's what this shape really just helps you to do. So whenever you see this shape, you are not putting in any particular information, you are not writing, you're not typing anything in. Probably you are just clicking and moving away from that particular place. So that's a process screen that you are trying to show us. And then this shape represents data. This shape represents, of course, yes, the shape, the shape is constant, but the colors can be different. The shape is constant, but the colors are different. Now, this shape represents your database. Maybe you are trying to, a particular data is in the system, or you are trying to do database, something about database. This shape, is used for that. Yep. All right. Now, let's move quickly. I think that's the end. Now, this is like a little basics on how you can, create whether your information architecture or anything whatsoever on, but I'm using user flow to explain on FigJam. So I am thinking that you probably would have opened a Figma account. If you have opened a Figma account, you would have gotten into FigJam. But if you have not done that, you'll still be taught how to get into Figma and FigJam at the same time. Now, what you want to do is you want to come to FigJam and you want to choose your different shapes, your different shapes. So you choose any of those shapes that we've mentioned, whether your input shape or your start shape or whatsoever shape that you want to choose. You choose that from here, and then you can use your connector. There's also the connector. This is your connector shape at this location here. So you can choose your connector, open mobile app, that's the start. Then are you logged in? If you are not logged in, you probably want to sign up, and then you can create something like this. The purpose of your user flow is to help you understand the step-by-step flow of the user on the application. If you don't create a user flow, you probably would be confused even when you are designing. But when you create a good user flow, when you create a good user flow, you are able to use that flow to create an application that stands the test of time. All right, so this is just a user flow that I probably have created at some point, just explaining, some flows and how they went and the likes. I know that we would have questions. If we have questions, you can always reach out to me on my LinkedIn. These are tools that you can use for your user flow. So you can use Miro, you can use FigJam, you can even use draw.io. You can check it out and then you can try things out from there. This is your assignment. You can screenshot this so that you can always go back and then answer the question. A continuation from the first assignment you were given, but this time around, just create an information architecture of the solution and a user flow. You can use FigJam, you can use Miro, you can use draw.io. And if you have any question, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn, Esther Ajayi. Thank you very much, everyone, for having me. I'll just answer. Someone says, but what is actually the sole purpose? I think I've answered that. That it is to help you understand the flow of the user, the step-by-step journey of the user on your application. Even for the stakeholders too, they want to see the flow of the user on their platform. All right. User flow has nothing to do with the logo of an application. It is like a flow chart. Yes, thank you very much for that. All right. So we have come to the end of this class and we'll be seeing on Saturday by the grace of God. Thank you very much, everyone, and let's have a lovely night. Bye.